Most people over 65 believe that if relationships fade later in life, it's just how aging works. They assume distance is inevitable. Friends drift, family calls less, visits shrink, and they quietly accept it as fate. But here's the uncomfortable question. What if people don't leave because of your age, but because of patterns that started decades earlier and quietly accelerated after 70? Here's the mystery. Millions of seniors feel abandoned, yet very few can point to a single moment when things broke. There was no big argument, no dramatic goodbye, just a slow thinning of contact, less effort, less warmth, and one day, silence. Something important is missing from the story, and until you see it, the cycle repeats. To understand why people leave after 70, even family, we have to follow the timeline backward, because the causes don't begin in old age, they begin much earlier. In early adulthood, most people build relationships around roles, not connection. You are the provider, the caregiver, the problem solver. According to long-term social studies in the United States, especially those tracking post-war generations, relationships in the 20s and 30s are highly functional. They revolve around work, parenting, survival, and social structure. Emotional depth is often postponed. People assume there will be time later. This creates the first hidden fracture. When relationships are built on usefulness instead of mutual emotional exchange, they weaken once roles change. No one notices this at 30, but the clock has started. In the 40s, changes begin quietly. Careers stabilize or stall. Children grow more independent. Health issues appear in subtle ways. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that emotional habits tend to solidify in midlife. People become more fixed in how they communicate. Complaints become sharper. Listening narrows. Flexibility declines. Not dramatically, quietly. Here's the clue most people miss. In midlife, relationships need adjustment, not maintenance. But most adults try to maintain what worked before. They keep talking the same way, reacting the same way, expecting the same dynamics. This mismatch plants the seeds of future distance. By the time people reach their 50s and 60s, family structures change again. Adult children are under pressure from work, finances, and their own kids. Social circles shrink. According to American health surveys, the average number of close social connections declines steadily after 50. This is not abandonment yet. It's compression, but it increases sensitivity. Small tensions feel bigger. Now comes the shift after 70 that most people ignore. This is where cause turns into consequence. After 70, losses accumulate. Physical strength, independence, familiar routines. The brain responds to loss by becoming more protective, more controlling, more negative. Studies on aging and emotional regulation show that while older adults can be emotionally wise, stress and isolation push many toward rigidity instead. This is not a character flaw, it's a survival response. This is where the 6 reasons people leave begin to show themselves. The first reason is chronic negativity, not sadness, not grief, but a steady focus on what's wrong: health, the world, the past. Family members, especially younger ones, start to associate interaction with emotional drain. They don't leave out of cruelty, they leave to protect their own mental energy. The second reason is loss of curiosity. Conversations stop being exchanges and become monologues. Stories repeat, questions disappear. Research in intergenerational communication shows that perceived disinterest is one of the fastest ways relationships cool. People want to feel seen, not just remembered. The third reason is emotional unpredictability. Small things trigger large reactions. Advice turns into criticism. Concern turns into control. Adult children often report feeling like they are being parented again, this time with less flexibility. Over time, they create distance to avoid conflict. The fourth reason is identity collapse. When a person defines themselves only by what they've lost, they stop inviting others into their present life. Every interaction becomes a reminder of decline. People don't know how to connect to someone who seems to have no forward-facing identity. The fifth reason is refusal to adapt. This one is painful. Language changes. Social norms shift. Technology evolves. Seniors who openly reject change often signal, without meaning to, "I don't want to meet you where you are." Over time, people stop trying. The sixth reason is unspoken resentment. Old grievances resurface when distractions fade. According to family psychology studies, unresolved emotional debts often emerge strongly in later life. When these are expressed indirectly, through sarcasm or withdrawal, relationships erode. Here's the breaking point. One day, people don't stop loving you. They stop engaging, calls become shorter, visits become rarer, you're still family, but you're no longer emotionally safe or energizing to be around. This is when seniors feel abandoned, confused, and hurt. The fallout is serious. Social isolation after 70 is strongly linked to higher rates of depression, cognitive decline, and cardiovascular disease. The CDC reports that loneliness carries a health risk comparable to smoking several cigarettes a day. Financially, isolation increases vulnerability to poor decisions and exploitation. Lifestyle shrinks, days lose structure, purpose fades. In response, many seniors try failed fixes based on old advice. They demand respect, they guilt family members, they withdraw further to protect their pride, or they cling harder, increasing pressure. These strategies backfire because they address symptoms, not causes. Now link this to today. Across millions of American households, the same pattern repeats. Distance is not caused by age, it's caused by emotional friction combined with unadapted behavior. The good news is this: patterns can change, even late in life. So, what can you do if you're over 60 and want to stop this from happening? First action: shift from telling to asking. Replace advice with curiosity. Ask about lives, challenges, and thoughts without correcting them. This alone can reopen doors. Second action: practice emotional regulation. Pause before reacting. Not every discomfort needs expression. Studies show that seniors who manage emotional tone maintain stronger family bonds. Third action: build something forward-facing. A project, a routine, a role. People stay connected to those who are still becoming, not just remembering. Here's the clear warning, based on evidence. If isolation deepens after 70, it becomes harder to reverse with each passing year. Early action matters, and here's the open thought to carry into the next video. What if the key to people staying in your life is not holding on tighter, but becoming easier to be with? If this resonated, hit like so others don't feel alone in this experience. Share it with someone navigating aging and family distance. Leave a comment if you recognized any of these patterns. Subscribe for the next chapter, where we break down how seniors can rebuild closeness even after years of silence.